founder of Medicine Box and Try Mind's Eye by Medicine Box. And I am here to talk to you about psychedelics and recovery. At this time, I just passed my 10 years of sobriety from drugs and alcohol. And throughout that whole process, I have used a variety of plant medicines, cannabis, hemp, mushrooms, LSD, wachuma, peyote. But here today, I'd like to talk about psilocybin and microdosing specifically. And the analogies that I use, the 90-day suggested program that I use with my brand, Try Mind's Eye, which is equal parts medicine and mentorship. And throughout that, we guide people if they want that mentorship while they're using the medicine of the microdose to create the dream transformation that they want in their life. And some of the ailments that a lot of people come to us for is anxiety, depression, suicidal ideations, lack of focus, lack of creativity, clarity, lack of meaning, and lack of purpose. Those are kind of the big categories. And what I am very passionate about and fairly knowledgeable about through my own experience, strength, and hope in recovery is using these psychedelic medicines and microdosing as a gentle rake, right? I look at microdosing as a rake that is gently scraping away the vestiges of the ego and chiseling into that psychological bedrock that becomes our service platform for spiritual development. So, always in context of this conversation, is to do the psychological work in service to the spiritual development, not the other way around. So, what do I mean by that? As microdosing can just gently scrape away any traumas, any resentments, any self doubt, limiting beliefs, the subconscious, and bring that stuff to the surface. We've heard the default mode network. Essentially, that is just putting a damper down on the things that we just go about in our driving, right? We're just driving along in our life and we're just kind of going from point A to point B. We're going to sleep, we're waking up, we're feeding the kids, we're going to work, and we're doing all the things without really navigating our life. So when we can put the damper on the default mode network, we make space for other opportunities that come into our life. And maybe that is discovering meaning, discovering purpose. A lot of people also come to us because they want creativity and clarity and focus and flow, and they just can't find themselves there, and they identify with having ADHD. Well, I also have ADHD, but I don't identify with ADHD. And when we can understand that ADHD is just a manifestation of our life experiences to this point, then we can get down into the deeper depths of the psyche in the body to uncover some of those things that are making us not focused, that are making us tune out. Classic ADHD, but those are all manifestations of our life experiences that stem from the defense mechanisms that we gained from our childhood, from early adult life, and uncovering all these truths. So microdosing can really help with that. And what I really like about coaching people, being a mentor to people, and providing products for people in this medium is that you can still get along with your life. You can still wake up, go to work, be a parent, be a spouse, be a good friend, and still engage in the world. And it just has a little bit of a brighter, more amplified outlook on life, where that macrodose is more of the leaf blower that's just like blasting the psyche open. And you might not be quite prepared for that, or you might not have the therapist or the psychedelic integration person or anyone in your life to really reflect this back and process, what you saw there. And you need to take an extended period of time off of your reality or your regular life to really integrate that process. So the microdosing really just kind of keeps you in that frequent and consistent state of being and moving forward. And just a little math, if you're doing a 90-day suggested program, right? Doing a day on, 2 days off, that's about 45 days, right? A standardized microdose is 100 milligrams of psilocybin. 100 times 45 is 4,500 milligrams. 4,500 milligrams divided by 1,000 milligrams per gram, that's 4.5 grams over 90 days, which is about a hero's dose, 3 to 5 grams hero dose as a macro dose. Or you could do that once a quarter, once every 90 days, once every 12 weeks, once a season. And so that really helps kind of frame the mathematical equation around it. You're still getting the same amount of medicine over a higher frequency of time, and you're staying consistent with it. And you're doing the behavioral exercises with it. What do I mean by behavioral exercises? Journaling, quiet, compassionate contemplation with yourself, walking in nature, being in nature without your phone, meditating, processing, reflecting with others. When that come on happens from the medicine, sit with it, feel what comes up, invite it in, say yes to whatever's coming in, whether that's creativity, focus, maybe it's a resentment, maybe it's anger, maybe you're crying, maybe you're anxious. Sit with it and ask why. Always ask why. And then when you get that answer, ask why. And when you get that answer, ask why, and get to the root, to the root, to the root, to the root. Now, why 90 days besides the math? When I went to recovery 10 years ago, over 10 years ago, to AA, it was suggested to go to 90 meetings in 90 days. I went to 88 meetings in 90 days, and I was mad at myself because I didn't do all 90. But why 90? Because it's gradually pushing the message into your head. And over that amount of time, you're learning and you're growing and you're evolving and you're paying attention to your external environment that you've manifested through your internal environment. And maybe that's sloughing off relationships, quitting your job, getting out of romantic relationships, not hanging out at places that you used to go to, and detouring away from the people, places, and things that would cause you to succumb to some of those addictions in the first place. So that's kind of a little bit of a philosophical approach to the 90 days. And I think real profound change comes over a longer frequency of time. It's not instant gratification. Everyone wants to get to the top of the mountain without hiking the mountain itself. And I'm going to finish off by saying that there is a wisdom gap between us and mental health. When I say us, I mean our society at large, our culture. We're suffering from, grave mental illnesses, mental health. 100,000 people died from drug overdoses in 2021, the most recorded in history. And we may look at that as that's just a statistic, 100,000, 6 digits. But if you funnel that down from 100,000 and you get to just one person, one out of those 100,000, think of the trauma that has ensued on the people that were close to them in their lives, their family, their friends, their loved ones. And now look at the exponential effect that has happened from what some people may unconsciously look at as just a statistic because it didn't happen to me. But look around in your lives. I'm sure you know someone that knows someone, or maybe it's even you that may or could be in that statistic. And take a deep breath there. And how do we get out of that? And that's the wisdom gap, because everyone wants to get from here to here, but they don't understand there's a canyon that you got to come down. You can't magically teleport over here or take this to get to that. You can take this, being the psilocybin microdose, the psychedelic, whatever it may be, to get to that. But you have to climb down the canyon and get to the canyon floor first. You have to fall and trip, get back up, fall, trip, get back up, wipe yourself off. And then you have to climb back up the other side of the canyon with everything that you've learned and discovered from the introspection that you've given yourself the chance to pay attention to with mindful awareness and mindful, um, quiet, contemplative attention to your internal environment. And that's how we blast through this wisdom gap, and we start to be able to close the wisdom gap between us and mental health. When I say us, I mean society at large, on a broad scale. So hopefully this provided some values, and I look forward to serving you all in the future, whether that's through products or contact. So appreciate everything that you're doing. Thanks again. This is Brian with Medicine Box.